I just sat down here and I made a video, but I feel like I need to make a video kind of stepping back into things. I know it's been quite a while since I made one, and part of that was that I just didn't have that much to say. Right after my diagnosis, which was when I was 37 and I'm 41 now, right after I was diagnosed and I found out that I was autistic, I had a lot to say, I had a lot to share, and then I probably just said so much that I got burnt out. I also had a lot of negative feedback, a lot of positive feedback too, actually more positive, but it's the negative things a lot of times that kind of stick in your head. If you're like me and like a lot of other people, you tend to, it's, you know, the words that you can read, but you don't know how to say them, perseverate, that thing. Like at 3 a.m. when I am suddenly completely awake and thinking about something that I feel like I said or did that was stupid, or that someone misunderstood and that I then wanted to spend like an hour over explaining how they completely misconstrued what I said and took it the opposite of the way that I intended. I've also been into a lot of different things. I'm sitting here with my little seedlings. There's actually like the entire table behind the camera is seedlings and repotting succulents that got too big last year and needed their own pot. And just being a mom and keeping the house clean and learning how to do things so that I can fix things. A while ago, we had a particular kid that was having a hard time when they would get stressed out. And the reason they were stressed out was that school was out for a month for summer, and took to banging their head on the wall. And it would only be a few bangs, but it was through the drywall. And that was hard. We ended up with a lot of holes in our walls. So I took some time to watch a lot of videos to learn how to repair that sort of thing. And I'm not great at it, but I'm getting better. I just sort of let myself step back, and probably the only reason I kept making videos was because Maggie is so into it. And I did toy with the idea of shutting down my channel, and I talked with various members of our family. Everyone, really, except for Tessie, had input, because Tessie doesn't really talk, and everyone wanted me to keep making videos. And I'm glad that I did, but it was really necessary for my mental health to just step back and talk to my wonderful therapist and work with the psychiatrist, balancing out my meds, because the pandemic was hard for all of us. I got tired of hearing people make assumptions about me, from what I was doing with my hair to whether or not I was having a nervous breakdown. And I will admit, during the pandemic, let me say, we were very, very cautious, especially during 2020, 2021. My kids did not go to school. A couple years before, when Sadie was in 4th grade, and I think the pandemic started when she was in 6th grade, so it had been about 2 years earlier. If you were here, you might remember that she got sick, mildly sick for like 2 days. We took her to urgent care where they thought she had asthma, did a nebulizer treatment, did an x-ray, saw mild cuffing on her lungs. Went home on Monday, got her into the doctor. So this was like Friday, she got sick. Saturday, we took her to urgent care. Monday, we took her to the doctor. At the doctor's, she had an asthma attack. The doctor prescribed a bunch of meds. We had a rescue inhaler that they'd given us at urgent care. She had to use that multiple times that day. We ended up in the ER. They did a bunch of treatments. They sent her home. By Friday, she was admitted with a partially collapsed lung. So you could say that when the pandemic hit, I was more than a little hesitant. And I know and I know we all just want to get past that, but it was a really, really stressful time. For me, I was bored. I was home all the time. We hardly left the house. I set things up so that my kids would have a lot to do here, so that there was just like, from our backyard being spectacular to pools to a swing on the porch to swings all over the house. But it was difficult and intense, like it was for so many people. And one way that I had fun while staying at home was I've always cut my own hair. Well, I've cut my own hair for like the last 15 years, just because the social anxiety that I have over going and getting my hair cut is outrageous, but it's a thing. And I have always liked cutting my own hair, or at least since I started doing it. I usually am pretty good at it. There's been some whoopsies over the years, but people get bad haircuts when they go to salons too. The other thing is, sensory-wise, I don't like having long hair. So I'd always toyed with the idea of how short I could get my hair. What would it feel like to have a shaved head? would that feel better? So I wasn't particularly worried about damaging my hair because I thought I can just cut it off and start over again. Not super worried about that. So I did bleach my hair, and I was actually, the thing that got me was overlapping the bleaching. Anyways, my hair did get really damaged. People thought I was coloring it a lot more than I was because I would batch record and I would release things at different times. So even though I was going 4 to 5 weeks between dyeing my hair, people thought it was like a daily thing, I guess. And so that, I just got a lot of comments about my hair, and it got to be a lot where people would be questioning my mental health because I was dyeing my hair. I did end up cutting it off in a video that I made. And I was excited. I was so excited. I thought about it for like 4 weeks before I did it, and I was excited to try it. And then I discovered that my hair still bothers me when it's short. And in fact, it bothers me a little bit more because there's no way I could tie it back. So I've spent the last, 3 years now, 2 years, letting my hair grow back out. I feel like it's the healthiest it's ever been. This video isn't about hair, but I feel like it played a significant role in it was one of the things that I heard about a lot. And I know people always say either you put yourself out there. So sorry, the bus is not here. I just realized I can see it if I look over there. You put yourself out there, but like I put myself out there because I think that it helps parents be less afraid. That is the main reason I started talking about autism, because I remembered being really, really scared, and the light coming in is fading. So there's a window above me, and I had really good light when I started, but it's cloudy outside. And just other things, like people would make comments about, apparently I do this thing where I go, it's like a fake gasp when I think something is exciting. And I apparently do it a lot. I do it all the time. And I think part of that is that I naturally do have like a flat or affect. In other words, people felt like growing up, I heard people who didn't like me call me cold and snobby. It's a flat affect is something that you hear autistic people have. Over the last 40 years of my life, I have made my expressions bigger, and I also make my eyes really wide without realizing it. I've realized that from watching a lot of videos of myself, and I think that's because I would make myself make eye contact. I would make myself and it was something that took such a big effort that yes, it's gonna look weird. I'm gonna be like, my eyes look, not normal. And I've talked about that I tend to make super, super intense eye contact because all I'm thinking about is eye contact and whether I've made too much and whether I can tell it's not, whether it doesn't look normal because it's not natural for me, but it's still something that looks unnatural, and that I think especially neurotypical people tend to pick up on as something that's like, wow, something's different here, something's not quite right. That gasp is another thing. It can be really annoying. And then once it was pointed out to me, I started noticing it everywhere, but it's not something that I can stop because I've tried, and I just automatically, when I see something that's like, I think is cool, I tend to go and point it out to the kids. And that's okay. Like, the thing about being autistic and not knowing it for your whole life is that you adapt. And that is just one of the ways, I guess, that I have adapted. Another thing probably that put me off was that some people have come to the conclusion and have shared with me that they really feel like I don't discipline my kids. I let them do whatever. And I just say like, oh, it's because they're autistic and so they can do whatever. And that is just not true. The thing is, I'm not going to ever discipline my kids on camera. You're not going to see my kids get in trouble. You're not going to see me working through something hard with them because that's not something I'm ever going to share with the world. I do talk to my kids about what I share here. I also try to look at through the lens of like, would this possibly be embarrassing? So that even if they're okay with me sharing it, I'm not going to share it unless it's something they've wanted to talk about that we've gone through and agreed about talking about, or unless it's like a happy thing. Like Maggie loves going to Dollar Tree, and so I've shared that a lot because she loves watching herself go to Dollar Tree. Okay, the bus should not be here yet. I just want to make sure. I have personally found that you can push and push and push with certain things when a child is not developmentally ready to get that concept, and you can all be miserable together about it, because I have done that as a parent. I have made those mistakes, absolutely. Or you can wait until the kid shows signs that they are actually ready to get it, and then things tend to just click into place after like a day or two. I guess for some people, they've taken that and sort of twisted it. And I also really get that there are some people that just feel like kids shouldn't be shown because kids can't consent to having their picture online or anything like that, that they just shouldn't be online. As a parent, I take it really seriously, making those decisions, talking to my husband, talking to my kids. Sadie was actually one of the biggest voices talking to me about not shutting down my channel when that was what I was really close to doing, probably about a year ago, before I decided to step back for a while and just sort of take things day by day. Having this channel has made a real difference to our entire family. A year before I started my channel, Paul's contract ended with a small law firm in which he worked very long hours for a very low pay. It was just not a great situation. About 2 months before I started my channel, there was a point where our power got turned off and where I was making our kids all of their Christmas presents before actually some of my friends stepped in and bought them the things that were on my Amazon wish list. When I started YouTube, it was as a caretaker of kids that had some pretty high support needs, and I couldn't get out of the house to work. Paul was gone 12, 14 hours a day because at that point, Paul started his own law firm. I wanted to do something to help out, and me and Sadie and Patrick were watching YouTube for like the first time ever, and we saw a family vlog and the kids got really excited about it, and I said okay, and I started using my phone, which I believe was a iPhone 5C5 something, I don't know, and it wasn't good. It didn't do 1080, it was like 720 and not great quality, but we did it and we had fun, and I kept doing it because I actually did want it to turn into something where financially I could help my family. And it's not like I make a huge amount of money. I have a small channel and most of my earnings come from other things off of YouTube now, from using the skills that I got making YouTube videos to make videos. But it has, oh shoot, be right back. The bus did get here, so I have to finish things up. Back to what I was saying. So if you're here to see meltdowns, if you're here to see embarrassing moments or tough moments, that's not gonna happen. And that's because I would never share those things about my kids. It doesn't mean that I'm not teaching my kids how to live in this world that we all have to live in. The harder moments aren't the ones that you are ever gonna see here. The harder moments aren't the ones that I'm going to share with the world, because I don't want that to be preserved forever. Anyways, I'm here, I'm back. I hope I'm back. I have loved making videos on YouTube. It has been life-changing for our family. That's what I was talking about. Based on what I make from making videos, again, mostly not on YouTube, makes it so that now every month I can pay all of our bills. And Paul's business has grown too. As someone who he does public defender work, so that isn't incredibly lucrative. So we're actually kind of, I just did my taxes and we pretty much make the same amount. That wouldn't have happened, at least on my part, without YouTube, because I have tried a lot of different things. One was an Etsy shop where I had like 700 sales, I think, when I closed down my shop. But I was also working a ridiculous amount making stuff just to have, a couple things sell. And it was really hard. And I like this a lot more. I like making things for fun and not as a business. Anyways, I know I've gone on and on. This has gotten long, probably. No, before I go. And I got Botox. So just really quick, another thing that's gone on is that I've had migraines. I've had headaches since I was 8. I've had migraines since I was 13. I'm 41 now. Always probably been 3 to 4 a month. As I've gotten older, sometimes when I was pregnant, they'd be worse, sometimes better. But in the last couple of years, they've gotten really bad. I kind of got to the point where I was hopeless because medicines that had worked in the past didn't work for me anymore. And it was just really painful. And the biggest probably also was that before and after, I would get to the point where I just felt like my brain was shutting off and I could hardly function. So first we tried Nurtec, and Nurtec made them better, but I was still having a lot of headache days. Enough that it would be considered chronic migraine. And so after like 25 headache days in January, which really was not fun, my insurance approved Botox for migraine, which is 31 injections, which means that, and I had all sorts of warning, like it might not be even, this isn't cosmetic Botox. Anyways, I said I really didn't care. If it makes me feel better, I will do anything. It was between that and giving myself daily injections, and I basically said, tell me what you think will be more effective and I will do it. So anyways, my forehead doesn't move anymore. It took about 4 days for it to happen. This is me trying to raise my eyebrows. It's really weird. But I'll show a little graph if I can put it here. I think I can. Yeah, I know how to do that. My migraines have seriously decreased since I've gotten it. The ones I've gotten are milder, they go way faster, and I am sleeping better, I think, because they did injections down my neck and across my shoulders. So yeah, that's been really cool. And another thing that probably got me is like my weight has gone up and down. A lot of it has had to do with like a lot of stomach problems that I had over the years. And there was a migraine medicine that made me lose a lot of weight, but when I went off of it because it was making me so sick, my stomach, I gained the weight back. And then people are asking if I'm pregnant or suggesting that I'm pregnant or taking screenshots of my stomach and posting them on the internet. And yes, that does hurt my self-confidence. I'm a 41-year-old mom who has had 5 kids. I've had 5 C-sections. I have like a shelf. I do sometimes look like I'm pregnant, and I have always struggled with finding flattering clothes. Right now I'm really into just simple t-shirts that are a little bit baggy and jeans. But I have that little postpartum shelf, and I'm always lifting weights and trying to walk and trying to be active. But life gets really chaotic and my weight goes up and down from like 130 to 190 pounds. Mostly now I'm just trying to be healthy enough to keep up with my kids. I am definitely carrying around a few extra pounds. Having it pointed out, not my favorite thing, but what can you do? Anyways, I feel like I had to get all this off of my chest because otherwise it would just be in my head. And sometimes if something's in my head and I don't get it out, then, well. So I'm sorry if this feels like it's an airing of grievances, because I'm really grateful for YouTube. I'm really grateful for so many of you that I've met through this online. I don't meet people in real life because, yeah, I'm really shy. But I feel like overall, like 9 out of 10 things about this channel and having this channel have been amazing and wonderful and good. And I really don't want to let that like 1/10 of a experience ruin the rest of it for me. So I've taken a break, I've rested, and I really hope that I can get back. And I want to take this slow so I don't burn out again, but hi, I'm back. And I'm thankful that you're here.